Hey, Summerhill Cinema 700 here. Thank you for joining me for my first video of 2019. Today we're going to be doing a movie-Blu-ray review of the 1990 film by Frankenhooker, Frankenhooker. So I'd never seen this movie before, and I expected that it was going to be absolutely crazy, and it absolutely was. So let's just dive right into this. So like I said, I had never seen this, so I didn't know anything to expect except that it was probably going to be a really wacky film because it's by Frank Henenlotter, who had done such films as Basket Case and Brain Damage, and if you've seen those films, you know that they are nothing normal. So we'll just get right into it. Basically, we start out in this movie. We meet this guy, and basically we get this impression at first that he's some sort of like weird ass mad scientist freak because he has like this brain with like an eyeball in this like fish tank that he's operating on, and it's really weird. And you see like his mom and stuff, and she's like, "Oh, hi, honey, how's it going?" And it doesn't even really faze her that he's got like a freaking brain with an eyeball living in a fish tank. So right off the back, we get this like impression or whatever that this guy is absolutely like some crazy like mad scientist or something, which is kind of funny, or some crazy wacko doctor. So that's that. We meet him. Then we see that there's this like picnic backyard like barbecue going on at their house. So his mom comes in, tells him like, come outside, let's hang out, come interact with people, whatever. I guess he kind of is like antisocial or something. So he goes out there and whatever. And I guess it's his girlfriend, presumably. I'm not sure if it's his wife or girlfriend. I think it's his girlfriend, soon to be wife, is out there, and they're just all having a good old time. And I guess like I can't remember exactly how it goes because I watched this movie a few days ago, so I can't remember like everything that happened. But basically, his girlfriend pulls out. It's like somebody's birthday, I guess. Um, I don't know whose birthday really it is. It's just this old guy's birthday. So she like basically shows him that they made him like this frickin' like crazy lawnmower contraption. It's like a lawnmower of spinning blades, like some really dangerous ass lawnmower. And all of a sudden, because she's a dumb blonde, no offense, because I can say that because I'm blonde, she fucking turns on the lawnmower and stands in front of it and drives it right towards herself. And boom, she chops herself up to bits. So obviously, Mr. What the hell's his name? The main character, Jeffrey, who's our mad scientist. He's obviously freaking out and super depressed because his girlfriend just got chopped to bits by a lawnmower, as anybody would be upset with that. So basically, we see him really depressed and whatnot. His mom's trying to like calm him down and tell him like it's okay, son. You're gonna get through this. And I can't remember the actress's name, but the woman who plays his mother in this film, Jeffrey's mother, was also in Blood Rage. The name's just kind of, it will probably say it here somewhere. Let's see. Yeah, Louise Lasser. So she was in Blood Rage, actually. She played Todd and was the other guy's name in Blood Rage, their mother. So she's in this film, and she plays Jeffrey's mother. So that's kind of an interesting fact. And also the actor who plays Jeffrey also starred in Street Trash, which is kind of cool. So yeah, we see him that he's all depressed, and then all of a sudden we start to see Jeffrey. He's getting these like weird plans together, and you see him like with these big paper scripts or whatever, and he's writing out kind of like a plan about how he can somehow bring his girlfriend back to life because he's like this mad scientist or whatever. So basically, one night he goes into New York City. So I guess in the film they're living in New Jersey. Goes into New York City, and I'm just gonna try to I'm not gonna go step by step because that's what I've been doing so far. But long story short, he's trying to find prostitutes so that he can use their body parts basically in order to build back his girlfriend. But she's not just going to be her ordinary self. She's going to be like the super woman, because she's going to have like the best parts of all these different women. So basically his idea to do this is he's going to round up these hookers. He whips up this super like crack cocaine stuff that he makes in his lab and basically gets them to smoke that. And it's like the craziest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. They smoke this crack and they just fucking explode into pieces. There's arms flying, there's legs flying, there's tits flying. It's just the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. And it's so insane. Only Frank Henenlotter could do that. So I skipped, a few things that happen in the movie, but basically there's like also this bodybuilder pimp named Zorro, and his women have this distinctive like tattoo, or it's actually like a burn, kind of like scribed into their arm, and it has a Z, so people know that they're like one of Zorro's women. So he's like this big bodybuilder guy, and he's not the friendliest fellow. So and it's his women that get blown up by our good buddy. I have to keep looking because I keep forgetting Jeffrey. So obviously he like takes all their pieces and whatnot, and it's really messed up. He's like, it looks so fake too when the prostitutes explode, and it's like the sounds are like fireworks going off, and you just see like severed boobs and like limbs, arms, heads flying in the air, and it's just so insane. He's like trying to pick out the best of each pieces. He's like picking up legs and arms, and he's like, oh, not this one. He's just throwing them and shit. It's so crazy. It's one of those things you have to see it to believe it. It's just so wacky. So he basically takes all these parts from these different hookers, brings them back to his place, and he has like this crazy like laboratory in his garage. And basically one night he knows that a storm's going to be happening, so his roof opens up top, and he has all these crazy contraptions, and basically the lightning strikes, hits the thing, and he has like this weird liquid too that he's kept his girlfriend. That's one thing I forgot to mention. And when his girlfriend died, I guess he somehow got her body parts and kept them in this weird liquid that like preserves it. So he has them in there. And another thing too that I forgot to mention, that we'll get back to where we are at with the bringing her back to life, but when she dies, it's pretty funny in a sense because they show like the news clip. So our good boy Jeffrey has this VHS tape, pops it in the thing. I guess he recorded off the news, and it's like basically the news coverage of his girlfriend being killed. And they have like TV reporters and police talking, and they're like, by the time we got to the scene, she was basically a tossed human salad. And then like the interviewer's like, a tossed human salad, and he's like, she's basically a jigsaw puzzle. And it's just so fucking funny because she just got chopped to bits, And here you have like this like police reporter or whatever, and he's like, she's a tossed human salad. Right now at this point, she's a jigsaw puzzle. It's so hilarious. This movie is honestly more funny than it is scary, but that's one of the things that makes it such a gem, this film. So back to bringing her back to life. So he's got all these prostitutes, different limbs and parts and crazy shit put together. Lightning strikes this rod that he's got hooked up, and it basically brings her back to life. And again, I can't remember the actress's name, but I wasn't really familiar with her other than in this film. But I guess it's Jennifer Delora, I believe. Not 100% sure. But no, she's a really attractive woman that they used to play the Frankenhooker. If you look past her in the film being like all stitched up and have all these crazy like limbs attached to her, other than that, she's a very attractive woman. But so she's got all these parts, and she like wakes up, but she's not exactly in the right frame of mind. Like, she doesn't remember that Jeffrey's her boyfriend. She just starts freaking out. She's like, and because she has all these different parts from the different hookers, she's just like, got some money? You looking for some action? And she just like basically like knocks Jeffrey out and just takes off into New York City, which is really cool because we get to see a lot of early 90s New York City. And even though like 42nd Street had been cleaned up quite a bit by this time, there's still some really grimy locations in this film. And again, this is from 1990, but New York City still looks pretty grimy. And if you know me, I'm a big fan of like grimy New York City as a filming location for movies. So that was really cool. But we just get all these crazy things happening. Like, she's going into New York City, she's riding on the subway train. She does like this weird thing of her lip that like goes up. She's going into bars and stuff. And I guess she wanders into this bar, and Zorro sees her, and basically he finds out that like this Jeffrey guy killed his women and used the parts to make this Frankenhooker, right? And he's just like, it's so funny. They go to this bar, and basically like he punches her in the head. Zorro punches Frankenhooker lady in the head, and her head like splits off. It's so messed up, and there's like fireworks going off and all this crazy shit. Basically, to conclude this video so it's not too long, because it's already going longer than I wanted to, we have the first part of the movie that I explained, and then we have her going into New York City and just all this havoc happening. So after all that happens, Jeffrey finally takes her back home, and they're back at the place, and I can't remember exactly what happens to cause it, but she becomes normal again and remembers him all of a sudden. But then Zorro comes, and right when they're having like a heartfelt moment, Zorro comes in. You just see him because I guess he followed them in the car. He took a taxi, comes in and literally just walks up to Jeffrey and just fucking cuts his head off with a fucking machete. And it's just like so out of the blue. It's just like we've followed this character the whole film, and Zorro literally just comes in and just hacks his head off with a machete. That's it. So she's freaking out, obviously, because she just started to remember who Jeffrey was again, and now he's dead. He's decapitated. And then basically, losing my train of thought here. Basically, so he chops Jeffrey's head off, and she's freaking out. But then he had that tank that he had all the body parts in, because he put the other hooker's body parts in the tank that he didn't use. They come to life, and there's all these hands crawling around. The tank dumps over, and basically they grab Zorro and pull him back in. So there's just all these severed limbs that have come to life, and these freaking weird looking heads. They grab him and pull him in. And then we get the end scene. It's so messed up. So obviously Jeffrey's dead, but Frankenhooker basically does the same thing to him. She hooks him up or whatever, lightning strikes and brings him back to life, except he's got the body parts of the prostitute. So he wakes up and he's got like boobs, and he like looks down and he's like, oh my god, ah! He's like freaking out. And she's just like, you had some pretty good instructions on how to bring people back or whatever. So it's pretty funny. So he brought her back, but using different body parts. And then at the end, she brings him back, but he's got all female body parts. So it's such a crazy movie. And I kind of made this review all over the place. I kind of jumped back and forth, but I didn't want to make this video too long, and it's already extended longer than I wanted it to. But it's hard to explain a film like this too, because it's so unique, it's so crazy, and like I said, only Frank Henenlotter could do a film like this. But I did enjoy it. It's very entertaining, very funny, and there are some creepy things in it too, but for the most part it's just a funny, entertaining film. So quickly about the Blu-ray, it's by Synapse Films here. We get an audio commentary, some interviews, scrapbook, photos, theatrical trailer. So it's a nice Blu-ray, and you can find it pretty cheap on Amazon. It's just a single disc here, as you can see, and if we pop the disc out, also get some reversible artwork there. But it's a crazy, wacky film, and if you like Frank Henenlotter's films, if you've seen Basket Case, if you've seen Brain Damage, or if you've seen both of those, definitely give this a watch. I think you'll have fun with it. Compared to those films, though, it would probably be lower on my list of my favorite films by him. I still am yet to watch the Basket Case sequels, though, 2 and 3. So, but that was Frank Henenlotter's Frankenhooker from 1990. Absolutely crazy movie, and definitely worth giving a watch. I did have a blast with this one, and I think it's one of those films, too, I will enjoy it more the next time I see it, because, you miss things the first time. But that's about all there is to say. Let me know what you think of Frankenhooker down in the comments if you've seen it. And until then, we'll see you on the next video. Cheers!